Hi folks, it's Linda Stacy of Living Blueprints, and it happens to be a Friday afternoon, probably in the middle of people winding down or moving on to other things. I wanted to remind folks that all of these videos are being uploaded to YouTube, usually within 24 to 48 hours after they're done on Facebook, if not even sooner, and I'm numbering them. So on occasion I'll refer to a number back. And today I might be referring back to 008, which I believe is the one where I talked about calendaring. But this morning I had the opportunity to talk to someone about the way that he approaches his extremely busy life and schedule. And really, for me, it was a summation of, ninja tips that this person has used to really take charge and get a lot out of this life that we've all been kind of given. And it occurred to me to ask him at one point, at the end of the day, with all of these things that you're doing, several committees, just his regular job that is his own business, and his athletic events and such, do you have energy at the end of the day? Because most people that I know are extremely exhausted by the demands. And so he actually has a lot of energy. So some of it could be in his DNA, right? His genes, but he does a couple of things that I think are key. One is some form of like powering down at some point during the day. For me, it would be middle to late afternoon. It's important. And for some, this takes the form of meditation. For him, he goes into a point where he's almost asleep, but not quite. And if anyone looks up like what's happening to our brain when we meditate, I'm not totally versed in this, but when we go into theta waves, there's a lot of restoration and cohesion. I don't know if I'm saying any of this right, that's happening with our brain that gives us so much more fuel for the rest of the day. And so he's taking this time. It could be anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, in the afternoon to recharge. So important. And I'm going to say it again, because if anyone is part of facilities planning, rooms where people can just go and shut the door and be in quiet and dark and not have a glass wall or door, I think are so important in businesses. And employers can get so much more out of their people if they recognize the need to recharge, and that we're not built to go 9 hours straight or whatever it is. I mean, I work downtown Boston. For me to go outside, it's not any calmer for me to go outside where the streets are very compact, tight, and there's lots of traffic. There's just no way to kind of step away and be completely quiet. So important if you want to have any energy for all of the awesome things that you're doing in life. Another thing that he does that is a pro tip that I talk about, and it's talked about in the book Optimized You, is he works on one thing at a time. And part of this is using his calendar to know when he's working on one thing versus another thing. So he'll really focus on the one thing, finish it, and then move on to whatever the next thing is. Now, for some of us, even we'll be in the middle of an email response to someone at our workplace. Something else comes in, or there's a text or something, and we are pulled to that other thing. I mean, at this point, if I am creating a response to someone through our request system, or I'm responding to an email, I let myself complete the thought completely before I respond to a ping, an instant message. People can handle waiting 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes even. It's okay to do your work and stay focused. You will preserve more energy if you stay focused on one thing rather than constantly splitting. Every time you switch your focus, which some people call multitasking, you are losing actual, like glycogen, like the actual sugar that is making your brain run. So you get tired when you're using it inefficiently. And another thing is, this didn't really come up in our conversation, but one thing that can really drain our energy is interpretation of what's happening in our environment. And so often we don't really know all of the details of what's happening. But if we spend too much time running our wheels, worrying about if a comment that you heard really meant X and Y and not A and B, if it's not ultimately important and it's not going to affect the really big picture, it really is not a good waste of time and energy to be spending on those things. That will drain you. That will make you tired at the end of the day. If you're constantly questioning how you performed or questioning what people think, if you need to find out, source the right person and ask them. Say, this is what happened yesterday. This is kind of the story that I'm telling myself about whatever it is. what do you think? Or can you help me get clear on this? And have a conversation about it instead of letting your wheels run and go crazy negative or just, it's just not a good use of your time and mental space to go down those paths sometimes. So I wanted to go over some of those ideas for preserving and conserving energy so that we have more of it to do really awesome things and have a really inspired, fantastic, fulfilled, satisfied experience of life and work. And hope you all are preparing for a great weekend. I am going to TEDx Boston to see some phenomenal speaking tomorrow, so that should be cool. All right, take care.